Okay, picture this. You're stepping into a massive open-air village kitchen. The energy is absolutely electric, the fires are roaring, and they are cooking on a scale most of us can barely even wrap our heads around. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're breaking down an absolute masterpiece of traditional large-scale cooking. But here's the twist. Instead of their usual heavy meat dishes, this entire epic cooking session revolves around one humble and honestly highly misunderstood vegetable. Yup, we're talking about okra, or lady finger. Get ready because we're going to see exactly how this village crew transforms a simple veggie into a two-part culinary event that is, no joke, going to completely change how you think about vegetarian food.
But before the real work begins, we've got to talk about the vibe, because the sense of community here is just incredible. As the crew gathers around for prep, there's this hilarious banter going on among the village elders. One of them actually jokes, if you eat this, your brain is going to grow instantly in a single day, right? It's that classic kitchen myth we've all heard from our grandparents. Eat your grains, get smart. The rest of the crew just laughs it off, asking what on earth they'd even do with all that sudden brain power. It perfectly sets the tone. It's not just about the food, It's about camaraderie, sharing a laugh, and building a shared experience before they roll up their sleeves.
And man, do they need to roll up their sleeves because the hard work ahead is absolutely staggering. We are talking 100 kilograms of okra. That is the sheer volume this crew is dealing with. To put that in perspective, this isn't some quick weeknight dinner prep. This is an industrial scale of fresh produce, and every single piece is meticulously hand-chopped by the crew sitting right there together on the ground. Just imagine the patience, the time, and the pure physical effort it takes to slice 100 kilos of okra into perfect, uniform little pieces. It really drives home the massive scale of this feast and the wild coordination needed to actually pull it off.
So what makes this specific event such a big deal? Well, it's a major pivot for this crew. According to the source material, this team is famous for cooking these colossal, heavy meat dishes. But today they are proudly going all in on a purely vegetarian menu. They're taking their signature grand, large-scale cooking techniques and applying them to a deeply traditional, two-part plant-based masterpiece. Basically, they're out to prove that vegetarian cooking, when you use the right techniques and do it on this epic scale, can be just as satisfying, if not way more satisfying, than any meat dish out there.
All right, let's get into the actual cooking. We're kicking things off with the first major component of the meal, which is all about crafting the perfect crunch. This dish focuses on fried ladyfinger. The main goal here? To take those fresh okra slices and transform them into a heavily spiced, crispy snack that totally eliminates that natural sliminess people usually associate with this vegetable. They are hyper-focused on achieving this perfect, spicy crunch that literally shatters when you bite into it. And achieving that perfect texture? It is all in the coating. First up, you've got this intensely flavorful spice base. We're talking a massive blend of roasted chili powder, crushed cumin, fennel, coriander, and carom, also known as ajwain. This combo builds a really deep aromatic heat. Then comes the crisp coating, which is a very specific ratio of gram flour and rice flour, all seasoned with rock salt. Now, the rice flour is the absolute secret weapon here. It binds right to the moisture of the okra, creating this microscopic, rigid crust that fries up flawlessly. This isn't just tossing veggies in flour, it is a calculated breading process built for maximum crispiness.
Once they're fully coated, the okra gets tossed into these massive, roaring vats for deep frying, and the details here are just spectacular. They aren't using your standard everyday vegetable oil, no way. They are frying this in pure wood-pressed sesame oil, which infuses this incredible nutty richness into the final dish. The source material actually uses some totally fantastic Tamil words to describe the sensory experience here. They call the flavor suruku, meaning a sharp, deeply satisfying, spicy hit. And the texture? They say it's karaku muruku. I mean, what a brilliant phrase. It perfectly captures the sound and feel of something that is just shatteringly, beautifully extra crunchy. Just saying it kind of makes your mouth water, doesn't it?
But look, you can't just serve a massive pile of dry, spicy chips for a feast. You need some balance. So that brings us to dish number 2. We're pivoting to build the tangy base, a traditional buttermilk curry known as More Colombo. This curry is the ultimate soothing counterweight to that fiery fried okra we just looked at. It's rich, it's sour, and it is just incredibly comforting. The real genius of More Colombo is how simple it is, relying on this precise layering of flavors. Here's how it goes down. First, they grind up grated coconut, tor dal, green chilies, ginger, and cumin into a fresh, vibrant paste.
Then they take that aromatic paste and mix it thoroughly into a giant vat of rich, sour buttermilk or yogurt, which becomes the body of the curry. Next up, they lightly saute a separate batch of okra and toss it right into that liquid mix, along with some coarse rock salt. To finish the whole thing off, they temper aromatic spices in hot oil and pour it right over the top. The crew actually notes that the fragrance released during this step is so strong it practically lifts them off their feet. Okay, so here is where all this hard work finally converges. It is time for the ultimate flavor combo. Think about it. You have two drastically different preparations of the exact same vegetable. One is this dry, spicy explosion of texture, and the other is a soothing, sour, liquid embrace. You can really feel the excitement peaking in the source material right at this moment as they get ready to combine both of these elements over a single, steaming hot plate of rice. Thinking about these two side by side brilliantly illustrates why this meal is an absolute masterpiece of culinary contrast. On one hand, you've got the crispy, spicy fried okra delivering that karaku muruku texture, bringing the heat, the crunch, and that nutty sesame oil richness. Then on the other hand, the cooling, tangy more Colombo brings a smooth, sour buttermilk base, perfectly cut with a fresh bite of ginger and green chili. When you take those hot, crispy chips and mix them into that cool, sour rice, you are literally hitting every single note on the human palate. It is a total masterclass in flavor building. And honestly, the reaction from the crew just says it all. As they sit down on the ground to eat this massive feast together, one of the guys just marvels and says, the sourness of the buttermilk paired with the spicy crunch, it's next level vegetarian food. They are genuinely blown away by how this perfectly balanced meal completely rivals their usual heavy meat feasts. It just goes to show that with thoughtful technique, a humble vegetable can give you a dining experience that leaves absolutely nothing to be desired. The satisfaction there is just totally palpable. But here is the real magic of this explainer. This isn't just something to watch, it's incredibly practical for you at home. We can take this massive village-scale lesson and bring it right down to your own kitchen. Towards the end of their meal, the crew actually highlights a genius everyday application for this cooking technique, especially for parents. They suggest taking that first dish, the crispy fried okra, and serving it up as a healthy snack for kids. Let's break down why this makes so much sense. We all know standard potato chips are usually heavily processed, packed with artificial preservatives, and honestly, they offer pretty low nutritional value. But crispy fried okra? Yes, it's fried, but it remains a super nutrient-rich vegetable. Plus, it uses all-natural, homemade spices like cumin and coriander, which are actually fantastic for digestion. And best of all, it delivers that exact same fun, crunchy texture that kids are obsessed with. It's just a vastly superior, clever alternative to trick kids into eating and actually begging for a vegetable they usually avoid. So we've traveled from a 100-kilogram village feast all the way down to a brilliant, simple snack hack for your family. The culinary science behind coating, frying, and balancing flavors is exactly the same no matter what scale you're cooking on. Which leaves us with one final question for you. After seeing this, will you swap your regular potato chips for some crispy okra in your own kitchen?